So yeah, this is just going to be a briefish one, hopefully. Just winter kind of gourmands, if you like, because it is that season, isn't it? When we basically want to sit by the fire, eat lots of chocolate, get as fat as possible, and drink as much booze as possible. So it's, yeah, we all go for them fragrances as well, don't we? A little bit sweet and lovely. So don't need to waffle on, really. It's quite self-explanatory. Right. So first, we're going to start with a kind of obvious, a boozy one, pretty gourmand as well, and that's Killian's Angel Share, which is, you know, it starts with a kind of lovely, beautiful fruitiness that you get in a very expensive, decent brandy. The champagne brandy that I've had before is kind of probably the best I've ever had, and was absolutely delicious. Very, very, very expensive, but it definitely has more of a brightness, a kind of fruitiness, and that's a little bit what Angel Share kind of opens up like. And then obviously it starts to get a little more body to it, gets a little bit denser as the woods come through, and that's obviously, you Google what Angel Share is, but it kind of describes the process, doesn't it? And the woods kind of become soaked in this brandy, like if you opened a used barrel. I imagine it smells as beautiful as that. And it's just generally quite a warming thing. I mean, I know most people are whiskey drinkers nowadays, or gin, whatever that is. Bloody horrible juniper berries and whatnot. But brandy is kind of, for me, it's a very kind of smooth, silky one that warms you up from the inside. And Angel Share kind of does that as a little, it's not a cinnamon fragrance, well, people seem to, maybe they get more of it than I do, but obviously cinnamon is a warm, sweet spice. It's very associated with the winter months, isn't it? And all in all, I'm not going to waffle on, I just think it's a very beautiful one for winter, and when it starts to get colder. I mean, you can't tell now, the sky's gorgeous, isn't it? But this is actually very frosty, which is, well, I'm out of breath because I'm out of shape, but it's hard to breathe in this cold weather. But that's Angel Share from Killian. Next is a chocolate one, but it's a chocolate one with a difference, and that's Acro's Dark. It's one I've mentioned an awful lot. It's kind of an adult chocolate. It's not overly sweet. In fact, there's not much sweetness in it at all, but it's like dark chocolate, different levels of chocolate. It's got like different chocolate things in it, if you like some cocoa, the best kind of green and blacks, proper dark chocolate, little bits of a slightly more milky chocolate, but not any sort of sickly Cadbury's vile chocolate or any of what Americans call chocolate in it. It's not like that. It's more dark, and obviously there's a nice woodiness to it. The patchouli also adds that bit of its own kind of sweet. Maybe actually the patchouli, bizarrely, might be the sweetest note in it, with a kind of chocolatiness about it. And also, it's not listed, but I've always said this, I think there's some oud in there, because this is kind of very woody, but it's hard, you know what a very woody oud smells like quite rounded off, quite luxurious smelling, and there's definitely a bit of that little bit of darkness in there that gives it something extra. Could also be as well the hazelnut which is in there. I think it's hazelnut. Anyway, it's just a very nice one, and it's very grown up. It's very wary, perfumey, if you like. It's not a straight up sickly gourmand like you've spilt chocolate all over yourself kind of thing, like some of them can be, or highly sickly and ugh. But yes, that's from Acro, and that's dark. Next we have Burning Cherry from Chiali. Is this a gourmand? Yeah, kind of. In a funny sense, it's got cherry in it, and cherry's the main note. A little bit of rose. It's In fact, I quite like a cake to taste of this. It is cherry, but it's like a cherry incense running through it. And there are other notes in there that make it kind of red and sweet, and again it's quite woody. I think there's sandalwood in it and other woods in the base, but it's mainly about the kind of cherry raspberry rose with a smokiness. And you could look at it as like a little bit of a Christmas pudding that's been singed a little bit but with a lot of smoke, and it has this kind of warmth about it and something mysterious. Yeah, it's been soaked in cherry brandy. Don't know why that's randomly come up like that, but why not? And it a little bit fruity, isn't it, from it? And I think the rose adds to the fruitiness through it. It's not a note that sticks out. It's just a very delightful, warming scent, and again I think it's good in the colder months because cherry's quite potent, isn't it? And cherry, again, you think of cherry liqueurs, cherry brandies. Cherry's one of them cakes, one of them fruits that goes in like fruit cakes and stuff that we get this time of year. So yeah, Chiali's cherry brandy. Chiali's burning cherry. Next is also a very famous Gourmand, which certainly shines at this time of the year, and it is absolutely beautiful, and that's Killian's Love Don't Be Shy. Now this one's all about the orange blossom, the vanilla and the marshmallows. And the way I'd kind of describe it is you've got this beautiful orange blossom syrup and you're dipping in your soft gooey marshmallows in it, and then you're eating it, and even my mouth's watering thinking about this now. Yeah, so yeah, it's just very sumptuous, very alluring, and it's a beautiful one. I can imagine, I think Sebastian, is it the perfume guy's called now, said they kind of get these orange blossom desserts in the Middle East. So you can imagine this being a kind of Iranian, Turkish, Iraqi kind of thing. And I've had Middle Eastern desserts before, and they are very fruity and very kind of syrupy, like sugary, aren't they? And yeah, this will be beautiful. I could imagine, you know, again on a cold night, with a little bit of a touch of booze, some sort of warm, fruity booze, a schnapps or something, and these little puddings with all these fruits in, and your marshmallows. It would be a delightful winter treat. So yeah, I'm not going to waffle on about that. We all know Love Don't Be Shy. That's Love Don't Be Shy from Killian. Next, I've just bought it, so I'm going to talk about it briefly, but I think it fits this kind of idea of these sort of fruity scents, and that's Riviere Imperial from Plume Impressions. Now I think it's primarily meant to be kind of like a sweet tobacco scent, which it is. It's got that in it, but the kind of fruity notes, again, dried fruits, Christmassy spices and stuff like that. It's very, very sweet, very sweet, and on the same kind of thing as Love Don't Be Shy. Again, you can see these brandy soaked dripping fruits like you do before. If your mum makes proper Christmas pudding and that, you'd have your hand in and you'd be munching away on them, wouldn't you? And it's that kind of the same feeling of it. It's very succulent. It smells very, very reddy, dark orange, and the tobacco gives it a little bit of a nice smoothness in there. And there's sandalwood in the base, giving it, actually on me it's not very creamy, because we know I'm not the greatest sandalwood lover in the world. It just has that kind of creamy, smooth, woody balance, which just about manages to keep them very, very sweet fruits from being that little bit too much. So that's this is my fragrance aisle, Rivata or something, Imperial from Plume Impressions. Next is Memoirs of a Perfume Lover. and the fragrance called London, or the origins of where it started, or whatever. It's you'd know what I mean if you talk about that. And obviously I'm going to put coffee scent in it, and this is coffee done in a different way. It's to do with the smells of London and stuff like that. Quite woody, some aromatic notes in there, but it's mainly about the coffee, and the coffee is so very well done, so realistic, like a kind of, you know what I mean, a roasted kind of coffee, and it's just very smooth and it's very warming. Now in this, I'm not a coffee drinker, but in this country, you know, when it's tipping with rain outside, which it is practically every day, but in the winter it's particularly cold, and we'll go for one of them very overpriced, very sugary coffees, or you could go to a real coffee shop and get an actual coffee that's got coffee in it. And this is very much what this one reminds me of. It's just like a warm coffee on a very cold day. It's just extremely nice. And again, I'm not going to waffle on because I don't need to. So that's London, or origins of a perfumer, from Memoirs of a Perfumer. Next, I know this makes its way into practically every single list I ever do ever, but it's Tom Ford's Noir de Noir. Again, yeah, Gourmand, why not? It works because it does have this, as well as the kind of, obviously truffle is a gourmand, but it's got this kind of, as we all know, Turkish delight about it, the kind of rosy chocolatiness about it. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, but there's a company called Fry's that makes Turkish delight chocolate bars, and obviously Turkish delight is the rose kind of jelly stuff, isn't it? And it has that about it, and the dark chocolate over it, and it's just a very warm, sumptuous kind of one. That's why it works so well in the autumn, I think, and the darkness about it. Again, I'm more of a dark chocolate lover than that, with the dark sweetness for treats and stuff, so it just goes very well. And again, you could imagine eating lots of Turkish delights with a hot chocolate, watching some crap in front of the fire, which seems to be all I do in winter, doesn't it? But yes, that's Tom Ford's Noir de Noir, a kind of Turkish delighty one. Next, this was a tricky one because obviously I wanted a peach one in there, because lovely stewed peaches, stewed pears with cloves and cinnamon. Probably something we all had as kids, again cooked in brandy. See where I get my brandy love from. Is a good one, and Davana has that kind of effect on me. It's absolutely beautiful. But there are a few with Davana, but I'm going to go for La Prima. Why not? It's a very predictable list. La Prima has that kind of rich, juicy peachiness, and to me that's kind of the main player of this one. It's just absolutely delightful, really. And if there was more spice, there's not, but you could almost smell them stewing away. Now obviously this is more to it. It's got woods, a kind of beautiful muskiness about it. It's very warm. There's little hints of florals, there's lovely tuberose and stuff in there. And it's all in all just a gorgeous flower bomb. Now I think the osmanthus that runs through it adds to the kind of stewed peachiness to make it gourmand, if you like, in the kind of winter months. It is a yummy one you want to kind of nuzzle into and drink or lick. Obviously don't do that, that's naughty. So I'm not going to waffle on. Again, we know what it is, La Prima, a lovely peachy one from Milano Fragranzi. And the next fragrance is one of my favourites of last year, and that's Gourmand from Olfactivo. Now I'm not normally a big fan of fig, but the fig in this one is very, very well done. It's like a real fig, like a juicy dark fig, and not, you know, that overly creamy weird fig you get in perfume. And I still don't understand that, but anyway, and it's also got some rum. It's got the fruits in it as well. It's got a little bit of to me, more of a white chocolate in it, but it's got a chocolatiness about it. And what it makes me think of is an evening meal with your friends, Christmas meal. You've all got stupid paper hats on, you're all singing stupid Christmas carols and whatnot, and it's, you know, everyone's getting a little bit tipsy. You're playing daft games that you do. Well, the daft games, I imagine, get more boring as we're older. But yeah, and it's just that kind of adult feel about it. It is a gourmand, and it is warm and fun. But you know, instead of you know, Freddo the Frogs and Iron Brew and what have you, you're drinking rum, and you've got expensive truffles, honey dipped figs and things like that. It's just a delightful fragrance. So yeah, that's Gourmand from Olfactive O. And finally, to round it all off, after you've been drinking stuff in your face with sweet treats and everything all night, obviously I'm lactose intolerant, so it will be lacto-free milk or some sort of vile milk substitution. But we want a glass of warm milk before we go to bed, don't we, really? When our tummies are a bit what have you. And a perfect kind of lactonic milky fragrance is Piano Santal from L'Orchestre Parfums. And literally it is like this, it's very creamy sandalwood, little hints of spice in there. Like, I don't think there's nutmeg in this, but you put nutmeg in your milk, wouldn't you, to kind of knock you out before you went to sleep. And it's got that woods in it, and to me it's always been like a wood milkshake or a wood smoothie mixed with loads and loads of creamy milk. And it's simply all it is. It's very warm, it's very comforting. It's yeah, it is that, you know, when you're a kid and you're having your milk and you've been tucked in and you can smell still the milk under your lips, under your nose, even on your lips and that. And the woodiness just gives it that little bit of depth and something a little bit different, because I don't think I could wear an actual milk fragrance. But yeah, Piano Santal from L'Orchestre Parfums is the final one. Yes, very unfit and highly out of breath. You see that crocodile cloud? Oh no, it was actually zoom it up, it's more scary. It looks like a flying goose, doesn't it? But yeah, very out of breath. It was just a brief list. It's not really very complicated or anything. I may make it a tag, probably not, maybe. And I'll tag the people in the description if I do. But what about you? What are your kind of winter gourmands? Because obviously in the summer we go for the fresher, more juicy ones and such like. But as it gets cold, yeah, we want them more cosy ones. Are you more of a warm, fruity person in the winter? You know, like a lovely, the hell are they called? I can't think. Or, you know, a warm, boozy one, you know, some mulled wine and such like. Or spicy cinnamon. Strudel, apple strudel. Or big fat chocolate cakes with warm caramel sauce and custard. But yeah, anyway, don't need to waffle on. Thanks folks, bye.